did you see this thing? It was funny. I stopped for lunch and I went into a bookstore and they had this magazine there. You see this thing?
Oh yeah, Peter Buckner and
Thanks.
You know what they did? He had those cool green shoes on, and in the picture they made his shoes look brown. I was so disappointed. He had like lime green hush puppies on. And in the picture, they took out the color of his shoes.
Oh, that's on
brown.
the inside?
Yeah, it was so disappointing.
I'll be right back.
Sure thing. Good thing I took it off pause and got it going. So, I mean, is that something like really conscious as you're going along and in making the tunes that you wanted to have?
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, we each one I told him, my co-producer Joe Thomas, I told him I want to make this sound young and happy and loving. I love it. And sure enough, I did.
Does it surprise you that the quality of your voice hasn't changed as years have gone on?
Yeah, it's very true. My throat still. I smoked for about 10 years, and some of my higher notes came down about 2 or 3 vanilla notes. I lost my range, you know. But
So did you quit smoking? And
yeah, I quit smoking.
The notes came back.
Yeah, a little bit. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Larry?
Yes.
Hi, Chief McDonald.
Hi there.
Okay, so you guys are well on your way, right?
We're fine.
Okay, great.
Thanks. So you were saying when you quit smoking that the notes came back into your voice?
Yeah. So some I got my range back up a couple of notes. I blew my throat for about 10 years, and then I got some of it back.
So was that like when you made that first solo album? Was that during the time when you lost those notes?
Yeah.
Oh, it must be nice getting them back.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
I know one of the sort of surprising developments, at least for your fans, is the fact that you live in part of the time now in Illinois and that you made.
And we go back there now and then and record. Yeah.
So is that like, do you tell yourself in your head that you still live in California and Illinois is a recording place?
Yeah, right. I live in LA, but we have a house in Chicago. That's how we look at it.
So about how, I guess you haven't had it long enough to know about how much of the year you're going to end up spending out there on a regular basis?
No, we have no way of telling, depending on how it all goes.
So is it really when you go out there, you're going out to work? Is that,
Yeah, basically work, yeah.
Does it, what do you think of the Midwest? You're so identified with.
Well, it's very friendly there. We live in a town called St. Charles, and it's so friendly. People there are so nice to us, friendly. It's quite nice.
Yeah, my wife is from Ohio. It's like whenever we go to visit her family, like people go, oh, what a drag, you got to go to the Midwest. And I say, no, I like it there. It's kind of real relaxing. Everyone's nice. It's
Right.
It's definitely different than the coast. Did you find that being away from California, where you have so many associations in any sort of way, made the creative process easier? Like, sort of like less distractions, less memories or something?
What again?
Do you find it easier to work in Illinois, or is it
I find it very easy. It's very peaceful, and there's no pressure, no deadlines. That's basically what we have going. We have a studio, no deadlines, and no pressure.
And Joe Thomas, I know that he did that the Beach Boys Country album. Did you? I mean, what was, why him for the producer?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. That I don't know about. But I just know I met him one night at Willie Nelson's recording studio in Austin, Texas. And I said, "There's a guy for me to work with." He played some songs on the piano for me. And I said, "Hey, I like your style." He says, "Well, would you like to do a solo album with me? Co-produce a solo album?" And I said, "Sure." So he flew out. He drove out to LA. We started writing songs here. We went back there and finished some songs there. So what we did, we started a bunch of songs here, and we finished a bunch of songs in St. Charles.
And can you describe what it is about him that clicked with you?
Well, I like his attitude, I like the way he played piano, and the way he sang even, I like that. And I like his ideas, production ideas, and his enthusiasm too. He had a very, very lot of enthusiasm.
And, you know, I know some people will probably like look at this album and say, well, you know, this guy co-produced it, but I bet, you know, he didn't do very much, and Brian did, you know, 95% of it or something. Is that true, or do you think
We
that
worked
he made
about
a
50-50. We both put in our share of time and energy. Yeah.
And do you think that he brought something to your music that would not be there otherwise?
Yeah, he brought some new interpretations, new orchestrative ideas. He brought to me new ways to express love and to express happiness with his arranging.
You know, a lot of the orchestration and arrangements in the album, when you listen to it, it sort of harkens back a lot to things that you did years ago with the Beach Boys. And I mean, the cool part is it's not like it's just going over old ground again, but the cool part is like, it sort of seems like you're seizing on different things and maybe in a way like using the whole artistic palette, and you know, you're able to like go back there now and choose anything that you want.
Yeah, we have that. Joe and I have a good understanding. We don't wear out our welcome. He has a house right next to our house there.
Uh-huh.
And we both bought houses side by side. But he doesn't come over to our house except just to record. He doesn't want to wear out our welcome. He's a very wise person. Very wise.
So the studio's in your place,
Yeah.
not in his. So do you just like pick up the phone and say, Joe, I'm ready?
Well,
Get over here.
he's the other way. He calls me. So that's how we usually work.
Uh-huh. So, and I mean, was the album made in a concentrated period of time, or you just like went there?
Well, it was made over about a year's period.
Ah,
At
I
a
see.
time.
There was a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah.
You got a number of collaborators in addition to Joe on the record.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, just a diverse group of people. Were they people that you had it in your mind that you wanted to work with for one reason or another, or did they come about in just a more sort of spontaneous way?
Spontaneously, yeah, through Joe mostly. We have three guys from Nashville that come in, a drummer, a guitar player, a bass player, and a drummer. They're called the Regulars.
Uh-huh.
They come in, we have them come in, they play, after we've done a little bit of a track, they come in, they fill in out the track with their instruments. They're called the Regulars.
Yeah, some of those Nashville guys are amazing.
They're great, they're really good players. They're really good at music.
And they can do a lot more than country music, too.
Yeah.
So, and someone like a Carol Bear Sager, how did you end up writing a song with her?
My president, the president of Giant Records, Irving Azoff.
Right.
He hitched me up with Carol Bear Sager, and she wrote some really good words for. She said that she needs them.
So was it like, I mean, just Azoff said, you know, I know the person.
Yeah, she says, I know just the person for you to collaborate with. And not only that, he hitched me up with
J.D. Southern.
Jay Sellers and the guy Jimmy Buffett.
Uh-huh.
He wrote the lyrics for.
Oh yeah, the
South America. Yeah.
So it was really Azoff who.
Yeah, he was the guy who steered me in that direction, in a good direction. Pretty cool.
So was he thinking like, you know, this would like help sell records if you had some names on it, or was he just looking for people who creatively would click with you?
Yeah, that's what he was doing. He knew these people, and he knew they were great, so he turned me on to them.
And did you feel is working with a collaborator something that you would rather do than?
Yeah, after this album, I would say that's my favorite way to create music, would be with a collaborator. It's easier that way. For some reason, it clicks better. You know, I'm not 23, and I don't run the studio and cut a #1 record. I just go in there and try to do my best.
Yeah. good too. I mean, everyone, I guess, has different ways of working
Right.
on things, and it's sort of take something out of everybody, I guess. Figure out how it's going to go.
Yeah.
With South America, one of the things that makes it such a fun song is, I think, in some sort of way, I don't know, when I listen to it, I make some sort of connection with California Girls in there, that it's got a similar sort of feeling maybe in the music and
Yeah.
in the lyrics, but of course it's a different thing. I mean, is there a connection there at all too?
Well, the spirit of California Girls is there. I don't know about the sound, but the spirit of it is there.
Did you, is the idea of running off to South America purely a Buffett thing, or when you do that song, you think, well, that would be a cool place to go to sometime?
No, actually, we went there. We actually went where that song was all about, the Florida Keys.
Uh-huh.
Well, not where, we went to Jimmy Buffett's place,
Right.
Florida Keys.
So that kind of gave you the right vibe for it?
Right, yeah.
So, I know that a lot of times you'll write the music before you get down to the lyrics. So was the music something that was inspired from that trip?
Not really, no. The song had been written except for the lyrics, and we did some of the vocal parts of South America there in Florida Keys.
Uh-huh.
It's called Key West.
Right.
That's
So
where we did it.
Was that your first time down there?
Yeah,
It's a kind of interesting place, huh?
yeah.
I know too that Andy Paley gets a co-writing credit for one of the tunes on the album, and we're familiar with him from Boston, so
Right.
that's where he came from. Is he someone who you're still working with at all?
I stopped working with him for a while, about a year. Needed to take a break from the intensity of it, the intenseness of it.
So do you think he's someone that you'll work
Yeah.
with in the future?
Yeah, I called him, and I talked to him about 2 weeks ago and told him that maybe we can do some live sessions together. Like Phil Spector's records.
Uh-huh. So is that something you're thinking of, like, for a future project?
Yeah. I would like to cut some stuff like Phil Spector did.
Well, how so? I mean, more like a live in the studio?
Yeah, a live studio. So, yeah, I think it would be great.
Yeah. So do you have, like, new material that you would like to do that with?
No. Well, yeah, actually, Andy and I have some songs we wrote. Actually, tell you the truth, we have 5 or 6 tunes that I think would be great. If he and I could just get the right attitude, I think we could do a good thing.
And would you use Joe Thomas in a project like that as well?
Yeah. I mean, Joe and Andy, I think it could be a good chemistry thing.
That would be, for a lot of people, when you came out with your first solo album, I guess it was 10 years ago exactly, right? It's about that. They were thinking, well, geez, maybe we won't have to wait a real long time
Right.
for the next one.
Right.
And do you feel now that whatever comes next for you is going to come faster, or you just like do things at your own pace?
We're going to do it at my pace. It's just as slow as I can. I'm not in any rush or any hurry to get it done. It's a new album. We do a new. I wanted to do rock and roll. I told you, I said I'd like to do an up-tempo album with a little harder rhythm. Something that make people tap their foot.
That would be cool.
I would like to try that.
So, you think if you say, well, geez, could be next year, could be another 10 years?
No more 10 years. No, it could be probably the most happy.
Uh-huh.
I think. I think so.
So it sounds like you're feeling, productive and that you want to be doing stuff. I know that you did all the vocal parts on this record. Is that something that is fun to do, or is it?
Well,
more
I like it
work?
because when one guy does all the parts, all the harmony parts, the harmonics tend to be a little closer together. They're all the same voice, so it makes the chord. A regular group of people, it would sound this way. A it would be like that. But if you see the one thing, you know what I mean?
Mhm. So do you think, so is that something which, you know, when you hear it, you say, that's something that, it came out, only I could have done that, and if I would
Yeah,
have had this
that's the point I was trying to make just before, that it has a lot to do with the same voice over and over on different parts. Would make, as far as I'm concerned, it sounds like it's tighter together for some reason. It's like a tighter together sound. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, you know, it reminds me of, like, you know, they say when, the string section, when you have like 40 violins play, and like part of the sound of it is the fact that everybody's just maybe like a tiny bit out of tune with one another, or,
Right.
you know, so it sort of makes it sound bigger because you're not,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're
But
saying.
it's like, if you think, well, what if you had the same violinist
Oh, I see
done
what
on
you're saying.
40 tracks, they'd be, you know, his intonation, maybe it would come out and have a slightly different sound, more like what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, I would. It's hard to tell what that really is, except I just know it works. I know it works.
So is it something, I mean, I read somewhere in the notes that they sent out, like, you know, some of the tracks have like 96 voices or
Yeah.
something like that. Is doing something like that something which you enjoy doing, or does it start to drive you a little bit nuts after a while to just keep on putting on, you know, one part after another?
No, actually not, because I know the end result's going to sound fantastic.
Mhm.
You know, I know it's going to be a fantastic sound, so I don't have to worry about it.
There was one thing I read, they had Joe Thomas's comments on the various songs, and in Your Imagination, he said it was written syllabically by layering consonants, not by, like, you know, writing the words first. And I was like, what does that mean? I didn't quite understand. Can you explain that?
Again,
I mean, this is what he said. He said that instead of using the writing just like, you know, straight lyrics, that it was written syllabically by layering consonants. Like it sounded like you picked out the sounds or something first before the words.
that's kind of what we did. It was a magic trick that he pulled too, and I can't figure out how he did it. I just know it was magic.
So was it like you didn't know what the words exactly to what the song was going to say at first?
Right,
Well, it worked.
yeah. It did.
You do have those two Beach Boy covers on the album, which I think a lot of people, old fans, will really get a kick out of. Did you have any, I mean, was there any particular point in going back and doing those songs? Did you have a particular reason?
Keep an eye on summer,
Yeah,
or what, let it run loud?
yeah, the two of them.
It was actually, Joe said something about, well, you know, some of your old tunes would sound better if you brought them down a few notes. And I said, I agree, and I said, how about Let It Run Wild? He goes, perfect, let's do it. So we did it, and sure enough, it came out fantastic. We lowered the key 3 notes.
So was he saying, like, you thought that the original would have been better if it had been lowered?
Yeah. And I agreed with him too. I was embarrassed at the sound of my voice on that particular tune, Let It Run Wild. So we brought it down a few notes, and sure enough, it sounded a lot better.
Huh, so you think, like, this is like
Yeah.
a better version, like you got it right this time?
Yeah.
Your Lay Down Burden, there's a number of real standouts on that record. I think Lay Down Burden
Yeah.
is one of them. And I've read a couple of comments on it, but most say that this was particularly written with Carl in mind. Is that true?
No. Actually, we wrote it with the idea of like, lay down your troubles with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Carl died, we lay down and die. In a sense, lay down your burden. I don't know. That's really not quite what. I don't think it's the best song that describes Carl's passing, his death, but it's got its moments, you know, lyrically. I'm not really sure if I like if it's really about him or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, is it sort of I mean, if you look at the words of the song, it doesn't sound like you're writing about him in particular
Right.
at all. So is it more accurate to look at the song as sort of like a general approach to, when life is burdening you, when you're dealing with heavy stuff?
I think it's a song about how you can lay down some of your troubles, just let them go. Let go of your troubles. Let go of Carl. Let go of something you love.
And you have Dream Angel.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of song that you could apply it to a lover, or you could also look at it as a father singing to his children, or something.
Yeah, and different people will interpret it different ways. Like somebody might think, well, hey, that sounds like it's for me.
Uh-huh. Well, as the author of the song, and I know that you have young children now, were you thinking of them in particular when you wrote it?
No.
So it's in Happy Days, which is kind of a corker that comes at the end.
Yeah.
There. When it starts off and there's the weird stuff going on, I mean, it's almost it's just so interesting. It's almost in contrast to what came before it.
I know. It was like we started out with in 1970. I wrote the verses in 1970. That's as far as I got. And then in early 1998, I filled out the song. So what it really was it was a story about how my life went to shit, just went to somewhere, and how I managed to get myself back on my feet all by myself and handled it. True.
So when you have a song from 1970 that's never, I think you never quite finished it, is it just like certain things that you have from back then kind of stay in your mind, or do you have, how do you go back to why do you go back to a song that's almost 30 years old? Is it something like you always want to
because
finish?
I just was playing it one day at my piano,
Uh-huh.
and I said, this could be the start of a great song. So what I did was I worked at it every day for a couple of weeks, and I developed it into a complete song.
The way that it comes at the end of the album, I listened to it and I said, wow, it's almost like you could imagine that this is a hint saying, well, this is where I might go in the future as well, doing some things that might surprise people.
Right.
So you think that's something? I guess I read one thing. Someone, said this is maybe where you might have gone if you hadn't had problems in the 70s and stuff like that.
Right.
Do you hear a direction to yourself in there?
In the overall song, or just verses?
Just in sort of experimenting.
The way I saw it was, I saw an opportunity to develop a very sad and kind of like morose mood and develop it into a happier mood. I saw the prospect of doing that, and I did.
One of the things that pleased me about the record is almost, not that all the songs are 3 minutes long,
Right.
but they're not overly long.
Right.
And as someone in where I'm listening to all the new records that come out these days and everything, it's like, particularly in the age of CDs where people are trying to fill out an hour or even 75
Right.
minutes, it seems like so many songs are 5-6 minutes long, like a whole album.
I know.
And it's like all they are repetitive. It's not like they're doing anything with all of that extra time. They just kind of bore you.
Well, that's part of life. You You gotta be bored a little bit to get excited, I think.
But what's nice about your record is that you don't get, I mean, there are some songs that are longer, but when you do the longer ones, there's a reason for it.
Right.
You know, and if you could say what you gotta say in 3 minutes, you're over and out. Do you keep up with pop music? Are you listening to
I listen to oldies with goodies stations now. I stopped listening to pop, because all you hear is rap music. But adult contemporary, I do check into that now and then too.
And I take it from what you just said, like rap music isn't something that turns you on?
No.
And I mean, are there contemporary people that you hear on the adult contemporary station and you go, wow, I should run that by the record and check it out? Do you hear stuff that excites you?
No, I haven't. Not for a while. Not for about 10, 20 years.
Do you, I mean, when you make a record like this, which sort of stands apart from whatever the hell else is going on out there, do you just say, well, you know, whoever buys it, what happens? Anyone plays it on radio, great.
I told my wife the other night, I said, you know, honey, if the album doesn't sell, I'm gonna look at it this way. I don't expect it to sell. And if it does, I'll be surprised. So we gave myself the benefit of the doubt. I'll be surprised if it sells.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
So you don't have any expectations?
No, I don't. Because my first one bombed too. So. It bombed.
Yeah, which was kind of surprised me, you know. The people who are your fans, they go, this is what we've all been waiting for. Everyone's going to run out and buy this.
Yeah.
Were you surprised when it didn't sell?
No. I kind of had the notion that it wouldn't. You know, I don't know why. I just said, I don't think this is going to sell. And sure enough, it did. It just totally bombed.
Was there any disappointment from that at all, or?
Not really. No, I took it very well. I said, you know, maybe if I ever did another one, I would do a rock and roll. You know, something with a hard beat, a better beat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something with a more upbeat, a happier upbeat. And I think it was something I would think would be something to get excited about.
So you think, and is that one of the reasons why you're talking about doing the next one, maybe more of a rock and roll record?
Yeah, because I said they won't buy my adult contemporary type album. They'll buy a rock album.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get mad at myself. Say, let's cut a rock and roll album. You know? let's blow the roof off this place. You know, just to put it mildly. It seems like forever since we've been getting going.
Oh, that would be great. I'm sure a lot of people would be happy to hear you rock and roll.
Oh, I would love to.
I guess, I mean, another sort of strange phenomenon I've noticed, like Peter Wolf from the Jay Giles Band, who,
right,
you know, I'm friends with from Boston.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of like he left Jay Giles, and then he's made some good solo albums. I think he's done 4 of them by now. But it's almost like people go, who's Peter Wolf? You know, they're so associated him with Jay Giles. And I can remember when your first solo album came out, because there's those intervening years and you have new people come along, there are certain people who go, oh yeah, I know the Beach Boys, but it's Brian Wilson.
Right, that's exactly it.
So is there any, and of course, you know, we've heard talk that you were going to work on a new Beach Boys album and stuff like that. Is there any thinking, I mean, if people try to encourage you,
no.
You know, like if you do a Beach Boys record, then people are going to have that name recognition.
Well, Mike hasn't called me, and we haven't talked since Carl died. You know, and as a matter of fact, we didn't talk very much before that either. So I'm not sure if he's into recording again or not. I don't know. I have to talk to him. I don't really know what his plans are. What he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, someone was just asking me the other day whether or not the Beach Boys were going to be on tour.
I don't know. He canceled some tours. It seems like it fell apart when Carl died. So it fell apart.
Well, does that change your attitude and any thoughts you might have of working with him again now that Carl isn't there to do it with, or, you know, if the circumstances were right, working with Mike and Al?
I like to work with Mike and Al Bruce. I think we can cut, like, we cut a good out, but will it be the same without Carl? I don't know. It's pretty rough for us, to have to lose him, something like that, to have had to lose him. So I'm not sure if any of us are really ready to work yet or not. I'll be right back.
Sure. Take your time. I heard that you gave a concert in Illinois just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Was that? And I saw, at the newspaper we have, can look up in the computer, they get the articles from the Illinois papers, and
Right.
there were 2 reviews in there. And one said, this was the first solo performance he's given in 5 years. And another one said, this is the first solo concert of his life.
It was the first one I ever did live. And it was very scary, and I was very scared, and I was very, very, very nervous. And I had a rough time doing it.
And why did you do it? Was it something you said, well, it's time?
Well, yeah. Joe and I were talking about doing something like that in St. Charles.
Uh-huh.
And we tried. We got together. We rehearsed the band. We rehearsed the violins and everything. And that was really rough to get all that right on and get it down pat. But it's behind us now.
So, do you think that it's something you'd like to do again?
Yeah.
Live
We're going to do a tour in September. We're going to do a tour in September, big city tour. Now I'm not sure where. I do know that we're going to do a tour.
So this is something like you've got it in mind that you're really going to get out there.
Oh yeah.
At last, and
Yeah. I'm going to stick it out, and I'm going to see what tours have to offer.
you're kind of almost famous for being nervous about performing on stage. Do you have some way of dealing with the situation now? Is it just that you've changed and you feel like you can handle it, or do you like going to get hypnotized or meditate, or
No, I think I did my meditation, my hypnosis, my self-hypnosis. Now I just call it work. I say, time to work, guys. Let's go to work. Boom, we're working. And after about 20 minutes, half hour, you're so well into it, it's going to bother you so much.
Well,
especially around people. I mean, when I stay by myself, I have a little rougher time. So I hang out with people. Therefore, I don't feel as lonesome and I don't feel as scared.
So you think this would be like a good thing for you to do?
Oh yeah. Not only for me, but I think for people. I think if somebody likes my music, it's all for the people. It's for our
Well, that's like another phenomenon that I've seen with even like a guy like Jimmy Buffett. He doesn't sell a lot of records, but people come to see him perform.
Jimmy Buffett?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
And I think it's like a lot of guys, performers from our generation, they may not sell millions of records anymore, but when they show up in a town, people turn out to see them.
Yeah, right.
So, and particularly like for someone such as yourself who hasn't been out there,
Right.
I'm sure you'd be selling out a lot of shows.
Well, I think, by the way it looks, we're going to be selling about 3,000 seaters. And that's pretty good for your first time around.
Mm-hmm.
3,000 seater, about 2,500, 3,000 seater. It's not bad.
So when you say that you do it in September, do you think like you go out, you have it like for a couple of weeks, or maybe a couple of months?
2 weeks out, 2 weeks back, 2 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks tour, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks tour. We have it planned. Why not?
Hey, there's no reason anymore for these people to go out and do endless one-nighters and kill yourself.
You don't have to kill yourself. It's just it's hard work.
Yeah.
And the payoff is if people applaud and show that they like it. That's a payoff right there.
So that's something you feel like you'd like to have in your life, is
Yeah.
hearing the same, because
I'd love to.
one of the things about that really comes through, I think, the overall thing you get from the album is you walk away and you say, this guy sounds happy that he's, come to a place where
He
he's.
can express himself.
I mean, do you feel now that you have achieved happiness, something maybe that's eluded you for a long time?
Say it again, please.
Do you feel now that you've achieved a measure of happiness in your life?
Were you with the solo out here?
No, nothing. I mean, just nothing
I
having
can
to
tell
do
you
with
exactly what
music.
makes me happy. My daughters and Phil Spector are my life. My wife, my daughters, and the records. The records they made me happy.
Oh,
And in
you
fact,
said-
I got off my chair as soon as I tuned into those records. I got off my ass, started working, it was a whole reason to live. You know what I mean? It was a reason to live. When I saw that baby daughter that we adopted, I told myself, this is it. She's a rock. The baby of our life has arrived. And my wife and I just lived for that baby. I think sexually, I would have to say there may not be quite as much of that done. But there's so much love and so much creativity that she manages to. Actually, we have what I would say a fair sex life. Ordinary, like anybody else.
Well, that changes too when you get older, right?
That's true.
You're not going to be like,
You're not 25 anymore.
right?
I say to myself, I'm a kid. I look in the mirror. I go, I don't want to be 5 years old. Good God,
Well, yeah, I'm going to turn 50 in a few months, so
The big 5-0.
I'm staring it in the face, yeah.
Now, when I look in the mirror, I go, you better not grow old, buddy. You stay young and happy.
Well, that's it, and
All right.
all of that stuff like, when people say you're only as young as you think and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely true. You think young, you become young. You say, I'll never grow old. Carl, my whole family died. 4 of my family out of 5, and the one left over. So I outlived my family.
Yeah, that's,
You know? It was rough for me.
Yeah, well, I know I've heard people say, even like about losing parents, like no matter how old you are, even if you're 60, right, and your father and mother died, you're an orphan.
Right.
And, it's like it doesn't matter how old you are, you're still an
You
orphan, and
still
it's
lack.
different.
You still have that lack feeling that you wish they'd still be around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, when you were saying before about adopting your daughter and how happy it made you, were you talking about the first one, and then was it
The
like
first
you,
one, and well,
you
yeah,
so,
the
felt
first
so
one.
good about that you decided getting
We
a
made
second
up with
one?
another one. Yeah, she's only 5 months old. Our oldest is about a year and a half old. She's very, very ahead of her age. Very ahead of her age.
Yeah, it's exciting watching. How old is the older one?
The oldest one is about a year and a half.
Uh-huh.
She's here if you'd like to see her.
Sure.
Would you like to see her?
Sure.
Okay.